Welcome to Power Up Your Practice, the go-to podcast for law firm owners and managing attorneys working on the business, not in it. I'm Ruby Powers, your guide into the heart of law practice management, bringing your insights from leading legal minds, trailblazing attorneys, and expert guests who provide practical perspectives on running your firm more effectively and efficiently. And before we dive in, I'm thrilled to announce that my latest book, Power Up Your Practice, is out and available on Amazon. It's packed with actionable advice for growing a successful law firm. Be sure to grab your copy today. And don't forget to subscribe to our newsletter for exclusive tips and resources. And if you're enjoying this podcast, we love your reviews. They help us reach more attorneys like you who are striving to build the practice of their dreams. Prepare to open your mind, be inspired, and power up your practice to the next level. Welcome back to Power Up Your Practice. I'm your host, Ruby Powers, and I'm really excited to have Nadine Heitz on here today. She's an immigration attorney, co-founder and CEO of Caseflow, and she's empowering lawyers with their technology and advocate for women in legal tech. We've known each other for I don't know how long. I think we were on some panels together, and we hung out at ABA Tech Show and conferences and tech committees and things together. But it's sort of funny. You don't really remember how you first met necessarily, but I'm really glad to have you on the podcast today. Welcome to the show.
Thank you, Ruby. Yeah, it's great to talk with you. And I'm sure I'll be seeing you again at the next conference. But yeah, we've been running into each other frequently, been on some panels together. It's always been great.
So you've had your firm, I think you said, for about a decade. But then you're also okay, that's good and all, but let's get into legal tech space. And so why don't you tell us a little bit about your journey as to how you got to where you are today and what you're up to.
Yeah, I'd love to. So yeah, I launched my immigration law firm in 2015 here in South Florida. And I always loved technology. I always knew that I wanted it to be a part of my practice. But it took me about a good 5 years to really find what I wanted to use. I used so many different systems. I tried everything. You name a practice management system, and I probably used it. But I kind of came across using Monday.com in early 2020, coincidentally at the same time that I launched my technology coaching business. At that time, I was not really selling a technology product and didn't really have a technology company, but I was being asked to speak on various panels similar to what you do, right? Speak about technology, speak about practice management. So I started doing coaching with immigration lawyers, and I started showing them the system that I created myself on the Monday.com platform. And whenever I showed it to people, they would say, "Oh, Nadine, I want that, but I don't want to set it up," right? Because it does take time. I don't know if anyone knows what Monday is, but it's kind of comes empty, and you build your own boards and your own connections and your own integrations and all that. So I had fun doing that myself in 2020 for a few years. And then I realized that others wanted my system. So I actually decided to find a technology business partner that could bring my system to the level where I could template it and give it to others. And that's how Caseflow was born.
So when somebody's interested in what if they're interested in something like this, how does it work? Like you schedule like a consult and you walk them through.
Yeah, so I have two options. I still do one-on-one technology coaching where you can pay a fee and have an hour with me, and we can talk about everything, not just Monday, but we can talk about your systems in general. But I also do offer a free demonstration of Caseflow, which is a 30-minute free booking. If you go to case-flow.com, you will be directed to our website where you can book that session with me. And I can kind of, show it to you, see if you're ready for it, explain to you what it is, show it to you. We also have a video on the website, so you can watch a little, very short, couple minute long video and get some understanding of what it is.
So what's the benefit of having this? So Monday is like a CRM, also a project management tool. Like, what would you call it? Because it seems like it's a lot.
It's everything. It is a lot, yeah. So it is a little confusing too, because Monday has grown over the years. It's truly a worldwide company, and people across the world are using it to design their own project management system, or CRM, and both. Monday kind of has two platforms. They have what is called the work management platform, and they have what is called the CRM platform. Think of it like an operating system that you build on, and you can pick which one you want to use. Some people use both, but I wouldn't recommend that. You'd be paying for two operating systems. So the one that we've picked is Monday CRM. And CRM on Monday just has some additional features that Monday Work Management does not, that are very beneficial for anyone who's in the service business or selling anything to, whether it's clients, customers, whatever. Because as you know, CRM is customer relationship management, and it has some nice features where you can very easily track all your leads coming in. You can track all your consultations that you're doing. You can write notes about it. You can track your case signups. And there's some really nice features where even your email is integrated with the Monday platform, so that all your email communication to and from the potential client or the client when they become a client is tracked within Monday very effortlessly and automatically, whether you're using Gmail or Outlook. Either will work.
So why, playing devil's advocate, why would you use this over like a legal CRM?
Like Clio or something like that? Yeah. Any of them. Yeah. Well, here's the thing. I've done probably over 100 coaching sessions with other lawyers, mostly, of course, immigration lawyers. And you know what they're all doing? Not all, but many of them. They are supplementing their existing case management platform with an Excel spreadsheet. Okay. And the reason they're doing, like, they're using Clio, they're using, I'm not naming names for other platforms not to be good, because they are great. I used to use Clio. I tried Practice Panther. I still use DocketWise for my forms, and I've used lots, and they're all good. They all have good features, but they don't show you your cases in such a visual way that you can really glance at it and just see a lovely overview and scroll up and down and see those red flags right in your face. Like, here's the cases that are in the RFE group. Here's the cases that are in the waiting on biometrics group. Here's the cases that are in the, waiting on interview group. Like, cases go through more stages than just open, pending, and closed, which is what most of the platforms come with. Now, I recognize that many are getting better and allowing customizations, but Monday is just so flexible that you can customize it to show whatever you want, track whatever you want. Something new comes along, like remember when the filing fees increased a couple of years ago, right? Mm-hmm. I needed to quickly look at who in my client existing database needs to be alerted, hey, your case is now subject to a new fee that you didn't know, when you signed up. And I was quickly able to just quickly add a checkmark column to my Monday board where I track all my USCIS cases and quickly alert them all at once with a mass email. Hey, your fees are going to go up for your filing fees. So it's just so customizable that when I discovered Monday in early 2020, I realized that I had my dream system that I've been searching for 5 years. And I've been using it ever since. And we now offer this to other lawyers as well.
So I'm actually going to be presenting about CRMs at the AV Tech Show. So this is good to hear about other options that are out there. But what I've found in my research is that a lot of firms don't even know what a CRM is. And
right.
I think the ones that use it the most are personal injury firms, because it is a lot about numbers and contacts and those leads. But that's just what I've seen. And then, but like, there is CleoGrow, Lawmatics, Lead Docket, the legal ones. And then there's like the non-legal ones like Monday, Zoho, and let's see, there's Salesforce and some other ones. But like the whole point of it is like to automate those leads and the drip campaigns and the contacts. And and, make it not just be on a sticky note or Excel sheet or someone's memory or something like that.
Right.
I remember being on a panel. It was in Orlando. It must have been a long time ago. I don't know when that was, but 10 or something less year. I don't know. And there was one of the co-panels said something about how he follows up after a consult, just to check in to see if the person's interested. And I was like, yeah, why is that? Like, I mean, it sounds so like, duh, but I mean, I don't think everybody does that actually, and just like, and if you can automate it, then, punch points, just like when you're like on a website or something and you're like, you get distracted and you don't buy it, but then like they somehow your email and then they're like, hey, you forgot something,
And it works, right? It works, right? How many times have you been reminded to buy that handbag that you put in your shopping cart a week later, right? It works. Yeah, you're absolutely right. And not only, what I love about my Monday system case flow is that the CRM flows right into the practice management section. So there's no disconnect. I know for you mentioned there's Clio Glow, and Clio, the basic Clio, right? Clio Manage, right?
Yeah.
And I know that before that, Clio Grow was actually Lexicata. And I used Lexicata back then, and it was a great app. And then when they merged, there was still a little bit of a disconnect that I know some people were complaining about, and it wasn't quite a seamless kind of connection. So with our Monday system, it really does flow so that your notes that you kept track of when your potential client was in the CRM section of your system now stay with you when they're in the case section. And that was really important to me. And that's one of the features that Monday CRM has. It's called emails and activities, and the activity from the one board can move into the activity section of the case management board. So it's really a great system that I believe in a lot, and I've worked with a lot of attorneys to bring it into their Monday account. And you own it too, right? You're not really subject to, so we build this on your Monday account. You're paying Monday. We offer the service of bringing this into your Monday account. If you ever want to leave Monday and go to a different platform, with just a click of a button within minutes or even less, you can have a beautifully formatted Excel spreadsheet with all of your columns and rows and data that you can easily bring into another system. I mean, how many times have you heard people say, oh my God, I've got to do the data migration and I'm waiting now I got to pay somebody $1,000 just to get my data out of their system, right? So Monday was designed for you to kind of be a lot more in control.
And so it can integrate with a lot of different programs.
Yeah, that's the beauty of it. I also wanted to use a case management system, but I didn't want to give up using some of my favorite apps that I love. Like, for example, I love Calendly. I don't think I'll ever, maybe there will be a replacement for that someday, but so far I love using Calendly. I like using an intake questionnaire for my consultations through JotForm, because it has conditional logic. I like using Receptionist Smith AI as an example that can book calls for us and book appointments for us. And all of these that I mentioned are integrated into my Monday system. So while I am using Monday as my core case management and CRM, I have these other apps that I love feeding into it and bringing data into it automatically behind the scenes. And we do that through custom integrations that we can build.
So whether or not someone were to hire you and set up their Monday, or like, just what are some of the other benefits to having a robust CRM? Because I think one of the things that I've seen is that, like, we've talked about this in the legal tech space, that there's about like 5 or 6 companies that are trying to be everything from, that initial intake CRM, contract writing, newsletter, case management, all the way to the conclusion. But in the process, like, they're sort of like buying pieces and, putting it all together. It takes a little while for it all to get integrated and more seamless. Sometimes case management software had like a mini CRM like add-on, but it wasn't super robust. And that's why I think a lot of people would add on to it. Or people are just not familiar with a CRM in general, so they don't know what it's capable of. So why don't we like mention some of the things that a really robust CRM could do, and just so people can get excited and maybe think, maybe I want that too.
Yeah. Well, it's interesting. I mean, I look at my Monday system as not just a CRM. To me, it's truly a case management system. And the CRM is like a benefit because, of course, I do want to track the leads that come in. I do want to know where they came from. I can get dashboard reporting that shows me by month, did my leads come from Google? Did they come from Facebook? Because we ask every brand new lead, where did you find us? And we actually have our reception service ask that. So this is one important feature of a CRM, is knowing where your source is of your leads, right? So that gets tracked.
Investment from your all your efforts. Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah. So if I start doing some ads, I can realistically track and know, is this actually working? And that's caused me to realize how important referrals have become. When I first started out, I didn't know that many other professionals and didn't have a lot of, past clients, right? So most of my leads in the beginning were through Google, but now most of my leads are actually referrals from other professionals or other attorneys, or even more existing clients coming back or referring me. So this has really helped me decide to spend more efforts on joining chambers and developing my referral network. So that's just one example. But some of the benefits are really in, first of all, I like to say keeping your sanity, right? Because the reason so many are supplementing their existing case management platform with an Excel spreadsheet is because they need to be reminded of certain trigger dates. For example, RFE due dates, or even something as important as a renewal of a DACA, or maybe there's a future I-751 or a future naturalization. And even in any legal space, you've got things that you have to remember to renew or do, whether it's immigration or something else. So with my Monday system, I can have automatic notifications to remind me of when to do certain things, or to remind my client of when to do certain things. So that can be totally on autopilot. So for example, we've got a future case board built into CaseFlow, where when you get your client their case completed, if you bring them into the future case board, maybe they need a future citizenship case, and you want to remind them, let's say 3 or 5 years down the road, to come back to you for that future case. How are you going to remember that? What other attorneys are often doing is a little Excel spreadsheet and putting that date, that reminder date, but you have to go look at that spreadsheet, right? Excel is not ideal in just reminding you or sending an automated email to that person. So my Monday system will actually send an automated email to the client at a time that I specified in advance on when they should contact me to renew their case. And they can be reminded again if they haven't signed up yet, and again, and then at some point the reminders will stop. You give up and you predetermine that. So the beauty of not only a CRM, but an effective case management platform that has the ability to do these kinds of notifications and integrations is that you are covered, right? It keeps your sanity knowing that, oh my God, or did I miss that BIA appeal date, right? Did I miss that critical date to file my client's asylum case? Did I miss anything at all? Because you're going to be reminded in advance until it is done. And that also goes hand in hand with the Monday task management system, which is superb. Everyone that's ever used Monday says the task feature is awesome, because your entire team is going to be told when to do tasks for a case, and they have to actually click on the status button marked done, and then it gets triggered as being completed. And you can have all kinds of metrics on who's got so many tasks, who may be overloaded, who may be not doing enough, right? So that's one of the other great features.
But to use it, does that mean all your people have to have a user for Monday?
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
And then
They
they have
don't have to.
uh
Yes, Mike, the key people, Monday does also allow you to bring a guest to your account that could only access a specific board. Or if you are on the Monday plan that we have for Caseflow, you can even invite a guest for free and just view one particular case. One, they call it an item in Monday, which could be a case or anything. So yes, you can have users look at your data in Monday that they can only look at, and maybe they can write a note on. But if you really want to have Monday be really powerful for your team, then yes, we generally start our Caseflow clients off with a 5-user account, and they can put, all whoever they have, or if they need more users, that's fine. So yeah, you would want to have people in your Monday system as a user to fully take advantage of the features like the email sync between all your team members, right? So
one of the things that we use our like CRM for is to follow up on leads. Maybe they called, but then, or they had a consult, but then they didn't hire, and just sort of
right.
putting them in that drip campaign and just sort
Yes,
of being top of mind.
you can do that. Yeah. Yeah. Drip campaigns are awesome. Yes, because they call it a sequence, and that's another feature of Monday CRM. You can create and you just design it once in advance. What sequence of future notifications or emails, messages do you want to give to your client? And the nice thing is that the sequence can stop when something else happens, right? The last thing you want to do is remind people of something they've already done. So you want to have that flexibility. So if they do sign up, that, now you don't have to remind them anymore, right?
Yeah. So I mean, if you really have this set up right, you could probably rely on less team members in your group and to do these types of work.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Yeah. I mean, I always say to people that I'm coaching, like, make sure that you have your budget for technology as a line item in your profit and loss, right? Because
Mhm.
the cost of a system, maybe it costs you, I don't know, if it costs you like 300 or 400 a month, um, what does that compare to one employee for a month, right? And think of how much you can get done with a system. And even those little things, like I mentioned, Calendly or Jotform. Calendly is very, very affordable. And I do sometimes get pushback from other lawyers saying, oh, but I have to pay $60 a month. Oh, but I have to pay $50. Oh, but I have to pay, I have to pay 30 per user. But, you know, think of the time savings, right? Staff is one of the most expensive things in our budget, right?
Yeah, I think before the pandemic, I remember it was more like your rent and your staff. But now I feel like it's more of your staff and your tech is
Yeah,
pretty much your top two. I mean, I think it depends on how virtual you are and that,
yeah,
but I
yeah,
think we're seeing more firms be more hybrid or purely virtual. And
yeah,
you're right. But I think the other thing that happens a lot with that tech is like there can be a lot of overlap between your different programs. And so like knowing
yeah.
when, like how do you sort of reconcile, like if you already have like you said like DocketWise and you have Monday, and is there, but there's not that much of an overlap between, or you like the systems that you have, like, and just in general, whether it was
Yeah,
different names used, but like
yeah,
when do you choose which to do what? And sometimes I think they add more features to a point where they almost could absorb each other, and then having to keep an eye on
right.
stuff.
That's
Yeah.
a really good question, and I can give you my philosophy on that, the way I look at it. So, for example, I do use DocketWise, but I use it only for the forms, and I love, love, love DocketWise for the immigration forms. I don't love it for case management, even though it can do case management. I don't love it to be a CRM, even though I know they're trying to, do that as well. So I'm a believer in using the app that you believe is going to accomplish what you need in the best possible manner. So another example is Gmail through Google. Could I just use my Google Calendar for booking appointments? Yes. And Gmail has even come out with some features now that are starting to simulate, what Calendly or Acuity does. But I just love using Calendly. I've built out all of my whole team is on Calendly, and we have all of our appointments in there. We can accept payments for consultation bookings. So I still prefer to use Calendly, even though there is probably an overlap in one of the other systems that I am using that could do it as well. Now, yes, many of us are striving for that all-in-one system that can do it all. If you find it and you're happy with it, that's great. But I just have looked at some of the other systems that I'm using, and when I find something else that can do it way, way better, I don't mind spending a little bit extra on that other system. So maybe one of the answers is, can you reduce your user account in one system? Maybe you just keep one account open in one system if you're not using everything, and maybe there's ways that you can save a little bit, because you're right, there is overlap. But if you're consciously aware of it and you're okay with that, that's fine. What I don't recommend is that you're not consciously aware of it, right? So maybe you're using 3 different things and they all can do the same thing, and you don't realize it because you haven't explored it. Take the time to explore it, because now here you could be saving money if you feel that.
Are you finding yourself overwhelmed with handling phone calls and spending endless hours on consultations that just don't qualify? Well, let me introduce you to Staffy Live, your ultimate solution for 24/7 live receptionist and intake services tailored specifically for law firms. Now, picture this: empathetic, truly bilingual specialists who understand the intricacies of client care and are experts at asking all the right questions to qualifying callers efficiently. Now that with Staffy Live, you'll feel like you have a trusted partner by your side, ensuring only qualified consultations make it on your calendar and providing valuable follow-ups when needed. As someone who's been using Staffy Live for my own law firm, I couldn't be happier. And I guess what Staffy Live is now offering, a generous 15-day free trial with no strings attached. You can head over to staffy.cc. That's stafi.cc and click Get Started. And don't forget to use the code RUBY, RUBY. Your future self will thank you.
That this one program can do it all, right?
I was on a panel on a legal tech. It was like a couple years ago for a legal tech conference, and my co-panelist mentioned like saving $100,000 because she had an operations manager just go in and do a deep dive of all the tech stack they really needed and what they weren't using. And honestly, there needs to be someone at the firm. I say this like, I don't know, whatever you want to call them, but they need to be good at it. They need to be good at the tech and the operations and the nitty gritty about this, but evaluating what you truly need. Like, before you know it, there's all this subscription, creep. Like, you're paying for Adobe, you're paying for this, you're paying for that. And you're just like, like even today, I had
the shiny object syndrome, right?
Well, yeah, but then it's like, it's just on your credit card. And if no one's responsible of like, how many users are you using and do you really need them? And I've heard of some companies that like you say, I don't need that anymore, but they still charge you. And like, are you monitoring your invoice?
Are you locked into a contract? You don't even know sometimes. Yeah,
that's a whole nother. So I think like a takeaway as well in this conversation is just having someone who's designated, whether that's you or someone else, make sure there's appointed someone who's good at this, but to evaluate your tech stack, what you're being charged and how many users you need and whether you can eliminate something. Like even today we were having a conversation like, well, we don't really need Dropbox anymore because we have X, Y, and Z, and I was just like, let's get rid of that. We'll still keep it because some people can still use it, but we don't need to have that many users like we used to.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
It definitely adds up. And one other thing I remember you saying on one of the panels we were on was just like, if you have an issue with a company you're working with, like a vendor, a tech vendor, like work to band together with other users to communicate with the company on how they could do, what you would like to see improve. As go there first before saying,
before giving up
and piecing out and leaving, because Especially if you've been using it for so long.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I've worked with a lot of, vendors to improve their systems because they listened and because I am generally interested in making the product better for me. So it's my desire to have a feature that I see lacking. I do not hesitate to email whoever their support person is. Oftentimes, with many of these companies, you can reach out directly to the owner. I mean, you know that I love using Pipefile for documents. The owner, Steve, has been awesome. He has published to anyone who wants to know what his roadmap is. And he is awesome with creating, and adding features that were so beneficial to me and making his product better. And I've done this with a lot of vendors. And you're right, I do say this on every panel, especially tell your staff, because sometimes we don't realize the pain of our staff in doing something and using a system that they say, oh, DocuWise doesn't work. It's always giving me an error on the forms, right? And they may not even tell you, or like you said, appoint a person on your team that is the one to go to when there are technology issues. And then what I ask my staff to do is, if you're having a problem with an error on DocuWise or whatever you're using, email it to me, give me a screenshot, and then I just forward that to whoever is in charge at that vendor's company for handling issues. And then I make sure that they get back to me, because you don't want to lose sight of it, right? I actually started using a new email app called Superhuman that I'm just in love with now. And I have a way that I can just remind myself in 1 week to bring that email back to me. I know that's a feature in, many email add-ons, and I want to make sure that they resolve it, because I'm paying for this product, right? I want it to work. And I'm sure the vendor wants to know when their problem has a bug or is doing something wrong. And we also have my technology group in Facebook, right? TIP, Technology for Immigration Practitioners, where I will often post something there, or someone else will post something saying, I'm having trouble. This is doing the glitchy, blah, blah, blah. And then I always say, did you reach out to the vendor? Like, do other people have this problem? The more of us that voice our concerns, the more that the vendor will listen and perhaps add that feature, right?
No, I agree. I think that's really sound advice, because I think normally it's this, policy like, well, I don't like this thing, I'm just going to leave. But then you've been using it for so many years, and your whole team and this and that and the training, and you're like, hey, never mind, I can't just leave.
Or they don't want to bother you, right, Ruby? They're afraid to bother you. They say, oh, I don't want to bother Ruby. Maybe she's going to think I don't get it, or right. Like, I just tell myself all the time, you're not bothering me. I just, we'll figure it out. Like, just tell me, please.
No, I agree. And I think, like, more that I've been in this legal tech space the last handful of years, and I work alongside a lot of little, startups and other companies and giving feedback. Like, they just love this information. They want to improve. They want to be better. They're wanting to know what are the needs that we have. I get asked that a lot. Like, if you could, have a program that did something, what would you want? Like, it's sort of a fun mental exercise, but I think what a lot of times is the programs we already have can do a lot of things. We just don't know how to make them go to the fullest capacity. So I think that's another thing, having someone in the firm who's, or, contract, whatever, consultant, help guide you through to maximize your efficiency.
Yeah. And I think because so many immigration attorneys, and I'm sure other attorneys in other areas as well, they so desperately want that all-in-one system. And I feel like sometimes the vendors are pressed to add this feature and add that feature, and it's not really ready yet, and they roll it out and it's clunky. And then I would much rather they just wait and make it really good. But I think that can be sometimes to the detriment of the vendor, that they launch that and then it's just ho-hum, right? So that's why I don't mind using a few systems, and as long as I can integrate it, like, I don't want to repeat my data entry all the time. So if I can have something else integrated with my Monday system, then I'm okay with that.
That's awesome. And I think before we start closing up, I was, how did you get into this whole legal tech space? Because there's a lot of women in this space, and there's not a lot of people in general in this space, but it's nice to be able to compare notes and see you at these types of events and talk about these things. But for those, how did you get into it, and how would you inspire some others who are, trying to get in this space or feel more comfortable in this area?
Yeah, I do recommend just going for it. Like, I think what really helped me is first launching my coaching business, and I really started working one-on-one with other attorneys to find out what their needs were and what they were struggling with. And as I realized some of their needs and developed my own system, sometimes getting a business partner is a good idea. Recognizing your limitations. I love technology, but I am not a computer programmer. I have no computer programming background. My background is actually marketing and advertising from back in Canada when I worked for a major department store. So my background was retail management and marketing, and then I became an attorney here in the US, and I always just had a keen interest in systems and technology and all of that. So I did find a business partner who is the Monday expert, who is the computer whiz, and between him and I, we were able to launch this business, and we took on a third business partner. So the three of us together, that can really help, because then it's not all on you, right? You all have your strengths. Although nothing wrong with launching it on your own, but be prepared to seek help where you need it, whether it's a programmer or whether it's any guidance, right? But so I kind of have my own programmer there in the background, helping guide case flow and making it what it is today.
Okay, so now we've got some questions. What's your superpower?
I just love organization. I just have this, like, I love organizing. And probably a little known fact about me is I used to have a professional organizing business before I became an attorney. In between when I left my career in Canada and came to the United States, I was actually doing my law school program. I was doing a whole online JD program through California, and I was living in Florida. And I launched with my best friend at the time. We launched a professional organizing business called Dream Home Organizing, and this was really before organizing became really, really popular, like it is now, right? So and I did the marketing. So I had the website and the blog in the background, and she was the one who actually did the organizing. So I've always loved orderliness and organizing, and I think that's where my love of systems, I wanted to put my cases in order, right? And I think that's why I love Monday so much, and I was able to kind of create the system of my dreams, because I just have this passion for organization. I just love it.
What's a resource, a book, podcast that you're like, you need to share with everyone?
Oh, well, I'm always reading a self-help book, but my favorite one right now is The One Thing. And I'm trying to remember the author. I think I made note of it earlier. I can look it up.
Keller? Was it
listening? Yeah, Gary Keller. Yeah. So this is such an awesome concept. So it's very simple, but listen to the audiobook if you can. If you want to accomplish something, let's say you want to improve your sales by 25% this year. What's the one thing that you can do that's going to make that easier, or just make that really happen? And you might start out with a list of 10 things that you could do, right? And then just keep narrowing it down. And that's the hard part, is figuring out what that one thing is. But once you figure out what that one thing is that's going to give you the most bang for your buck, then just do that, and just do that only, and forget about everything else, and it'll make that happen. So I've been kind of trying to do that, because I tend to want to do too much all at once, right? Like I have all these ideas and I want to do it, and then you're not really getting anything done. You're doing a little of this and a little of that, right? So I'm trying to really focus on the one thing. It's a great book.
I've heard of it before, but that's the second time, so probably should put on my list then. What is a habit that you would say is contributing to your success?
Probably just the desire to always do something new. Sometimes it could be to my detriment. Like I said, right? I have lots of great ideas and maybe don't always get them done, but I'm always, I think I don't mind change. Some people don't want change, but I love new things. I love innovation. I love new products. I've always been a gadget fan, like, whether it's the latest iPhone or the latest whatever. I just have an interest for doing something new.
Awesome. Well, I usually ask what's your favorite board game or game. So what would you say to that?
I would say I don't really care for board games too much. My kids will know that I'm not the biggest board game fan, but I will play with them. I mean, we used to play Monopoly. We're in Hurricane Alley in Florida. We're in South Florida. So when we have a hurricane and we have no power for a week, we'll have an ongoing Monopoly game going for 5 days by candlelight. So probably Monopoly, but yeah, I'm just not a big fan of board games. I don't know what it is. Maybe I just don't have the patience to kind of see it through. I just wanted to get it over with, get to the end.
Well, Monopoly can take a long time.
That's the big thing, yeah. And there's probably other new games now that my kids have.
There is one called Monopoly Deal, and you can do it a lot faster. And it's and you don't need to have the board, so it's good.
Okay.
Yeah, I learned about it a few years ago, and I prefer that one. I forget when people say Monopoly. I actually like that one, that version, and you can get a game under about 45 minutes or so if you really want to.
Yeah, that's a lot faster. Yeah.
I'm sort of a board game aficionado.
Well, your kids are a little bit younger too. My kids are young adults now, so they're not really doing. But there are some board games that these young people now are playing. I can't remember the name of half of them, but they involve there's this one that has all these cards, and you have it's kind of like a Monopoly thing, but I don't know. It's very complicated.
Well, Nadine, I mean, you've really done a lot for our community by creating the Facebook group for the technology for immigration practitioners, and we know you've been out there and doing consults and speeches, and so I'm really grateful for you, everything you've done, and we've seen you. I've been with ABA Tech Show together and some of the other tech summits, so. How can people stay in touch with you and find out more about what you're up to?
Yeah, you can email me, Nadine at caseflow.com, case-flow.com. We had to put the dash in there because we couldn't get caseflow without the dash. The domain was taken. So you can email me. You can also email me at Nadine at HeitzImmigrationLaw.com. A little bit longer to spell, but case-flow.com is easier. And just reach out. Happy to share information with you, or send me a direct message through Facebook. Make sure to join the Facebook group. We have over 2,000 members from across the country that are all immigration attorneys, and we all share. So there's so much information that I've learned from all of the other participants in that group. And as many of us say, it's one of the reasons we stick it out with Facebook, right? For the groups.
That's true. I'm on so many different groups, from WhatsApp to Facebook to listservs and everything. But Facebook.
Yeah, WhatsApp kind of drives me crazy. I try not to join WhatsApp groups. It's enough just with Facebook. So Facebook is generally easier for me to manage my group that way. So yeah, be sure to reach out to me.
Well, thanks, Nadine. It's really great to have you on the podcast and share a lot about Monday, CRMs, case management, the importance of automation, and just a lot of really good tips on how to advocate for what you really need for your firm, and just staying connected and from different groups like the Facebook group to ABA Tech Show or just other tech summits and conferences. It's important to stay in the loop and constantly learning something new. I think I share that with you as well, and just constantly improving. Yeah.
Well, great.
Thanks for joining us today, and thanks everyone for watching, listening, and you can stay connected with us on the Power Up Your Practice Facebook group, and you can also reach out at our websites and Power Up Your Practice and Power Strategy Group, and we'll see you next time.
Bye.
Thank you for tuning in to the Power Up Your Practice Law Practice Management podcast. I'm your host, Ruby Powers, and it's been a pleasure sharing this time with you. If you've enjoyed this episode, please take a moment to leave us a review, tell someone else about us, and I would love to get this podcast shared with others to reach more listeners like you. Don't forget to subscribe to our newsletter for exclusive content, tips, and updates straight to your inbox. And exciting news, our book, The Power Up Your Practice, is out and available on Amazon. It's packed with strategies, 25 chapters, to help you elevate your practice and achieve your goals. So join us next week as we dive into more advice and insight on law practice management. We'll see you next time.